finish up that tournament on UFC Undisputed 2010 later, but for now, let's do the title of the video. So, the predictions, I'm lagging a bit there, I hope, and yeah, okay, so, the predictions for Rampage Jackson versus Leo the Dragon Machida, and the co-main event is Matt Hughes versus BJ Penn, along with the return of one of my favorites of all time and fellow judo-based mixed martial artist, Kara Parisian. These three fights will be put in depth, and I'll say what I think about each. And the actual match is in 3 days, considering it's already 7:15 Central. It's probably going to be even less than that. Oh well. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go in order of importance according to the UFC. Really, my highlight for the entire night is Kara Parisian. Going to be the only one on the sports bar screaming, Karo, Karo. Everyone's going to look at me like I'm an idiot. It's in the main event. But anyway. Oh, and P.S. Do not spam this video as with all my others. If you have not been following me, comments require approval. I will approve them if you disagree with me. However, I will not approve them if you disagree in a disrespectful way. You disrespect me, any of the fighters, or anyone else on the board. Thank you for this. Now let's get started. Oh, and one last rule. If you want to post your prediction, then first off, of course, as I said, respectful. Second, don't just post Rampage is going to kill him, Machida's going to kill him, etc. Put the way you think he's going to win. It doesn't have to be very specific, but you do have to be specific and give a reason why, because you don't just post on boards, this is what I think is going to happen. You say, this is what I think is going to happen because. Sorry, I just want to make it very clear to trolls that I'm not the idiot if you post a spam message. Alright, let's get started. So as I said, in order of importance according to which card is which, Kara Parisian versus Dennis Allman is the first one. Now, clearly, being a Kara Parisian fan, I'm going to lean towards him, but also, if you look at the actual breakdown of who's done what, you'll see that Kara has a decently more amount of grappling credentials than Dennis Allman. Dennis Allman is very experienced. He's had 58 total mixed martial arts fights. He has had 42 wins and 33 of them all by way of submission, and no submission losses out of the 13 losses. Let's look at the notable guys he's fought. First off, we have to say that back before Matt Hughes was Matt Hughes what he is today, he choked him out twice in like 28 seconds. Let's see here. It was first Matt Hughes submission armbar, and it was 21 seconds of the first round. And was that the first one or the second one? I don't know. Oh, here we go. And the first one was a guillotine choke in 17 seconds. So, needless to say, he does have some decent submission abilities, because Matt Hughes was no less lacking as a wrestler back then. Just hadn't evolved as much like the other mixed martial artists back then. Moving on, he has defeated Matt Hughes twice. That's huge. He has defeated, lost to Frank Trigg twice. Well, it's clear that he's fought a bunch of journeymen, but I mean, yeah, a little, what is it? Michael Bisping deal won't work. Basically, looks like he mainly fights journeyman fighters, although he has been around quite a while. Once again, he's been in the UFC since December 16th of 2000, which is a few months after I started originally training in mmaninjitsu, being Toshindo and Bujinkan hybrid, and MMA, which we'll get to that later. But he was in UFC 29, and that's when he started. Now let's look at Kara Parisian. And P.S. I just got back from eating Chili's, and I've had a lot of soda, so don't blame me if I'm too hyper. That always seems to happen. So who's Kara beaten? Well, clearly Kara is pretty good at decisions, but nonetheless, let's see who he's beaten. The first name that comes to mind is Ryo Chonan, and if you haven't seen it, you have to see it. He's the guy that tapped Anderson Silva out in a flying scissor heel hook, and you can't even. That guy is. I don't care whether he's good or not. That, and I don't care if he could do it again. Deserves his credit there. And I'll get to the rest in a minute. My brother wants me for a minute. Okay, guys, back recording, so let's look at Kara Parisian. Ryo Chonan, he beat him by unanimous decision. He's beaten Matt Serra by unanimous decision, Chris Slater unanimous decision, Nick Diaz, who I cannot stand, just like Nate, his brother. So Nick Diaz by decision, and people say that's controversial. I saw the fight, I took note of it, and I don't get how anyone could have denied that as a win. Caro clearly lost one of the rounds, but there was no controversy on round 3, and we know he won round 1, so I'm pretty sure that's how it went. It was a couple months ago that I saw the fight, but nonetheless, that's Nick Diaz, Shohei Kara, who is not only a veteran and participated in the 4th season of The Ultimate Fighter, but also he is very well known for the spinning back fist. He fought but lost to George St. Pierre, but hey, who hadn't lost him? David Strasser, he defeated by Kimura, which, while he isn't a directly notable fighter, the way that Caro beat him was pretty good. He did a wheel sacrifice throw, which a lot of guys stereotype it as a ninja throw, but in reality it's created in judo, by Kano Jigoro, whatever his name is. I'm pretty sure that was it. I don't know. Point being, he did a beautiful judo throw into a Kimura and made the guy's elbow hand touch the back of his head, which was pretty funny. At the same time, pretty disgusting looking. Nonetheless, Kara Parisian has been in the business for a long time, and he's making his return. He is a black belt in judo, and he's Armenian with an American citizenship. He lives in California, and we've gotten that settled out. Moving on to Matt Hughes versus BJ Penn, and by the way, the specific prediction is Kara Parisian once again to win by a decision, because I believe that the other man has the submission aspect by a tiny bit, but Kara has the overall grappling, because Jiu-Jitsu's overrated, Judo's underrated, and wrestling's right where it should be. So, yeah, but once again, there's no judging direct art in MMA, because there have been champions of each discipline. So when you look at Kara Parisian, I believe that he will win by decision. As for the next fight, BJ Penn, and by the way, his real name is not BJ, it's JD. Basically, a long story short, his father had 3 kids named JD, which was J, JD, and Baby J, or BJ. So there's where BJ Penn's name comes from. No, MMA didn't force him to name himself Blowjob, so don't go that. He was the first non-Brazilian to win the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu World Championships. He has an enormous amount of grappling credentials, and let's look at who he's beaten. Just a list of champions. Corlo Uno, lost to Jens Pova, and which I can understand that because he came back and beat him. Matt Serra had a split draw with Corlo Uno. I don't know, is that how you say his name? I don't know. Choked out Matt Hughes in a rear naked choke, who is his opponent once again. Defeated a Gracie, Lyoto Machida, who he lost to. But hey, I mean, let's admit it. Anytime he gets above 155, he gets kind of fat, which trying to go up to light heavyweight is pretty crazy. So, nonetheless, he lost, and that may be a determining factor in the next fight. He defeated Renzo Gracie by unanimous decision, and lost to Matt Hughes and GSP, not simultaneously, consecutively, He lost to GSP, as I said, twice. And then defeated Jens Polo by a rear naked choke. Defeated Joe Stevenson. You cannot. I'm not even done with the list, and you can see he's been around. Sean Shook by a flying knee and punches. I probably should have seen that fight. But I know he won nonetheless. Once again, GSP actually made his corner call the fight. That's how badly BJ was losing. His brother, I think, actually told them to stop. I'm not confirming anything, but pretty sure. Kenny Florian, who he defeated by a rear naked choke. Diego Nightmare Sanchez, who he defeated by cut. Doctor Stoppage, probably. He lost the title to Frank Yeager, and most recently kept the title away. Frank Yeager once again beat him by unanimous decision, and I don't know, lately BJ has just not been in the mood to fight. Matt Hughes, that's what it looked like anyway. Matt Hughes. Now, people, I want to explain something before we go any further. People sit there and say that your prime has nothing to do with your number of the age. Yes, it does. It's 19 to 36. Go look it up. The prime of an athlete may be different, but prime in general, when I say it, is 19 to 36. So, if you say any different, that's great, but that's not how it works. So anyway, Matt Hughes is 37. Looks like he just turned 37 on October 13th. He is, so meaning he's 1 year out of his prime. But nonetheless, he still seems to be killing guys, clearly. His last fight against Ricardo Almeida, he was trying to avenge Renzo Gracie's recent domination. When Renzo got dominated by Matt Hughes, which was a ridiculous fight. It was funny because Matt Hughes, kicked Renzo Gracie down. Matt Hughes grabbed Renzo Gracie's hand, helped him up, hugged him, touched gloves, and then kicked him down again. It was funny. It was like way too much respect went on. The fight never went to the ground. Ricardo Almeida's fight was incredible. Ricardo Almeida was trying to avenge that dominant loss by his teacher. Ricardo literally got choked to sleep by, and Matt Hughes literally with all his strength was just ripping on his neck in an anaconda choke. The technical submission is a front headlock choke, but it was more towards an anaconda than anything, I would think, as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt myself. But it's really incredible what this guy does. He sits there. He's like my friend on the wrestling team, Watt. He sits there, and you try to take him down. You try to take his back, for example. So you tie up and try to take his back. He just sits there, looks at you like you're an idiot, and hits you with the exact same thing you were trying to do. That's what Matt Hughes does. He's good at everything. He can strike, he can grapple, he can wrestle, he can do all this. And each man is clearly a legend in the sport. Now what we want to do is look at exactly what factors may determine it. First off, we know clearly that Matt Hughes is more wrestling based, however does do submissions. BJ Penn is more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu based clearly, but at the same time he has great boxing, fast hands, and a huge chin. A good chin, not huge chin. He has a good chin, he can take a damn good hit,